Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the 3A Marvel's Classic Edition of Ultron. I'll be scoring this figure in 6 categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once the scores are totaled, I'll be giving you my opinion if this is a pass or a purchase. So we're going to move this along. So for accessories, this figure comes with absolutely nothing. No additional hands. Doesn't even come with batteries to power the lights on the figure. The lights are within the eyes, and there's some lights on the chest. I also believe that the back lights up. So let's take a look at the articulation. The head is able to move way up. However, when it moves, it kind of exposes these areas which look pretty unsightly. The head is also able to move down that far. It's able to rotate left and right. And you are able to get some head pivot. Just in case if you're wondering, these pieces, the antennas, do not move, nor is the mouth part articulated. So the shoulder part, it's 3 separate pieces. They are articulated. Really, they don't move that much. And they really restrict arm movement. So the arm is able to move forward just about that much. Backwards just about that much. There is no upper swivel. There is no swivel at the forearm. The gauntlets do move. The wrist also rotates and just up, down, left and right. And the fingers themselves are articulated. Just in case I forgot, the arm is able to move out that far. And you get single jointed elbows, which bend that much. So the torso appears to be on 3 separate parts. 1 part stationary, which is at the very bottom. 2 parts which move, which is this piece here, and the upper part. So you're able to get the torso to turn. You're not able to get any pivot. It crunches forward about that much. Crunches backwards more. There is no waist swivel, so it doesn't turn at the waist. This is more so the diaphragm that's moving. So you do have a ball joint. It twists at the upper thigh. No lower thigh cut. No cut at the ankle. So you actually get no movement anywhere from this part of the leg all the way to the bottom. Well, maybe that's unfair because the knees themselves are single jointed, which bends about that much. The foot is able to lift up. It's held by a piece of rubber. It really doesn't stay. It starts to slowly but surely fall down. The feet move down about that much. Pivots this much on the inside. That much on the outside. So for accessories, this figure gets the lowest score possible, which is a 1 out of 10. It doesn't come with anything. So for articulation, I'm going to give this figure a 3 out of 10. It's mostly made up of plastic and a few pieces of rubber. I feel like the rubber should add added movement to the figure, but it doesn't. The shoulder parts really restrict the arms. There's no rotation in the arms themselves other than the wrists. The legs are pretty much like statues. It feels that way when it comes to posing. The articulation on this figure is simply poor. So for design, I gave this figure a 3 out of 10. I want to start with some positives, and that's the offerings. So this figure comes in different colors. You have the chrome version before you. You have a gunmetal gray version. You have a matte white version. And I believe that there may be one other. However, I'm not 100% sure. So I do like that you get a variety of choosing different Ultron figures. I really like the paintwork on this figure. The chrome just stands out. It pops a lot. There's also some added rust throughout the figure, which I also like. In addition, I think the head sculpt is actually great. I think that head sculpt screams out Ultron, and I'm very happy with it. Now to some of the negatives. I'm not sure what collector 3A had in mind when they put out this figure. I went to see the movie Age of Ultron, which I was not a fan of. I certainly wasn't a fan of the cinematic version of Ultron, which pushed me to purchase these figures. I said, hey, let me go for something that's more comic accurate. However, this isn't comic accurate. I remember Ultron having a seamless body, and perhaps there are many other variations of Ultron in comics to where that's different. To me, this is more of a Frankenstein body. It just looks like pieces stacked on top of pieces that it wasn't essentially meant for. Some of the proportions are awkward. I feel that the legs are just way too long. I don't like the 3 pieces to the shoulder. The chest is weird. The wrist part looks awkward. The articulated fingers weren't designed properly. So I don't know what collector they had in mind. Is it for the toy photography guy? I doubt it, because it doesn't have a lot of stability either. So is this figure essential to your collection? I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10. If you're looking for a 1/6 scale version of Ultron, this is not it. Functionality, I'm going to give this figure a 3 out of 10. And I want to take a moment and actually start at the feet. So when I first seen this figure and I saw the feet, I was under the impression that the feet were done to give the figure added stability. However, that's not the case, because this figure doesn't stand properly. I actually have both figures leaning on something to keep them from toppling over. Also, the figure is tall and it's very light. With no added weight in the legs, it's just so easy for the figure to topple over. So stability is a huge issue for this figure. Want to take a moment and talk about the hands. So the figure doesn't come with any added accessories, so you're left with the articulated fingers. However, the fingers don't work well. I can't get my fingers to collapse all the way. I'm unable to make a full fist. If you take a look at the hand here for a moment, right? I'm able to extend the fingers flat, but now when it comes to collapsing the fingers, sorry, I keep saying figures, the fingers, they don't want to completely close, and it just feels like I'm going to add pressure and they're going to stop. So this is as close as I'm able to get my fingers to actually collapse, and it's on both figures because I tried it with both figures. If you take a look at the figure on the right, you'll notice that the shoulder piece is missing. This has fell off several times, and after putting it back on and having it fall off again and again and again, I decided for the time being to leave it off. However, with it removed, you do get added articulation in the arm itself. So the arm is able to do a full 360 now. It's able to extend out that much. And you actually get rotation, which now you can use. On to the gauntlets, which actually rotate. I completely do not understand the reason that they move. It doesn't add any range of movement to any area on the figure. So I'm just a little puzzled to why that's a floating piece, we could say. Originally, I thought maybe it was for the single jointed elbow, but it's not. This figure wasn't simply designed well. And you can start at the head or the torso, the arms, the leg, any part that you point at. Nothing was done well. Nothing was done good. There are a few things which are okay. Overall, with functionality, this figure is below standard. If I recall correctly, this figure was priced at around $220. So for scoring, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10. It is no way that this figure should have a price point of $200. I was actually able to snag mine for maybe 90 bucks each. And even with that 90 bucks that I spent, 180 for 2 figures, I still don't feel that I received a bargain. So for these figures to originally to have cost over or at $200, I don't understand why. We're not getting great posability. We're not getting accessories. We don't even have lights for the light up features in the figures. No interchangeable heads, no add-on pieces for this figure or anything. So the price point is just mind-boggling to me. So that gives this figure an overall Cliff score of 14 out of 60. So is this a pass or a purchase? It is absolutely, undeniably a pass. One thing that I do not like to do is talk about another artist's work. I'm going to have to be a hypocrite here. This figure, it's awful. And I'm saying awful truly to be kind, because I don't really want to say what I'm thinking. So thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. I hope to see you on the next review.